Would you like to give your users a one-stop shop to quickly and consistently provision databases that meet all best practices and your security policies? Well, you can do that with the Nutanix database service and with a little help from its friends, Nutanix Self-Service and Flow Network Security. Hello, and welcome to Tech Bytes. My name is David Teague. In a previous video, we used Nutanix Flow Network Security policies to manage what could connect to our database using Prism Central categories. In another video, we used Nutanix Intelligent Operations and NDB to automate the placement of newly provisioned or cloned database VMs into that category. Now we're going to set up Nutanix Self-Service to automate the provisioning of a database and build on what we did in earlier videos. This can be a great way to allow users to create database VMs to be used for testing and development on demand. So let's see how it works.
So we're going to start at the Prism Central dashboard. Then we're going to go to the menu and choose Self-Service from the drop-down under the Cloud Manager section. From the Self-Service Blueprint section, we're going to choose to upload a blueprint. I've created a custom blueprint for Microsoft SQL Server from an existing blueprint example that I downloaded from the Nutanix.dev site. When the upload screen pops up, you can change the blueprint name if you like, and then select the project that you'd like to use, and then select Continue. With the upload complete, it will take you to the editing screen. There are quite a few options to set up ahead of time. Only the variables where the running man on the right is blue will allow users to modify them when the blueprint is launched. In this blueprint, users who execute it will be able to select the database server name, server password, and database name. You may choose to hardcode part of the server name and implement a method to increment a number or add the date to ensure that the server name is unique. The extent to which you allow users to customize these options is up to you. The first variable we're going to need to provide is the webhook ID. In a previous video, we created an Intelligence Operations playbook to put a newly created database server in Prism Central categories. So we're going to use the webhook ID from that playbook, so that when the servers are provisioned using this blueprint, they are placed in a category. We're going to go to the menu and choose Intelligent Operations, then Playbooks. We will then open the playbook we want to use and copy the webhook ID. We will then return to the Self-Service section and copy the webhook ID into the correct value. You will need to provide the IP or URL of the Prism Central server, which is probably the one that you're creating this playbook in, and then the IP or the URL for the NDB server. After that, most of the other values will come from NDB. I'm going to split the screen and put NDB on the right and Self-Service on the left so we can see what values we are using from NDB. The software profile can be any Microsoft SQL Server profile that you have in NDB. We're going to go with the SQL 22 Secure profile. We don't need to execute the script that is on the server like we did in our previous videos, as Self-Service is going to do that for us. Now we're going to select the compute profile we want to use, which sets the memory, CPU, and core values, followed by the network profile, which is the VLAN you want these database VMs to be attached to. Then we will select the database parameter and database instance parameter profiles, which control options in SQL, like how much memory SQL Server has available to use. Since this is a Windows Server VM, we're going to choose to add it to the domain. Next, in NDB, we will head to the setting to get the name of the Nutanix cluster we want this database VM to be on. If NDB is managing databases on multiple Nutanix clusters, you could create a blueprint for each cluster, or you could let the user set this option. And finally, let's head into the policies areas of NDB and see what SLAs are available to use and select one. Once we have these values filled out to our liking, we're going to need to set the credentials the playbook is going to use. We will need the username and password of an NDB user that has permission to create database servers, and a Prism Central user that has access to Prism Central. You can find the exact permissions needed in the administrator's guide for each product. We can save the blueprint. You may get a warning if you did not put a password in the DB server password value field when you save. You can ignore that or fill out the password. The user will still be able to specify their own password. If there is any other missing information, you will need to fix it before you can run the blueprint. With the blueprint saved, let's take a quick look at the steps that make up the blueprint. If you'd like to learn more about Nutanix self-service blueprints, click the link in the video description. You can see the different steps that make up the blueprint. On a script, you can click the pop-out icon to see a bigger view of the script. A lot of the code and information for these steps was gathered from NDB using the API equivalent button. Step 7 is where we call the playbook to set the category, so we don't need the script on the software image as we did in the previous videos, when we just use NDB to provision the database server. Okay, so let's get to the easy part. We're going to go back to the blueprint screen. You can choose to launch from here, but if we exit back to the main screen, we will execute the blueprint like we are a user. by selecting the blueprint we want to run and choosing Actions and then Launch. On this screen, users will only need to provide a unique name for the application, a unique name for the database server name, a database server admin password, and the database name. If you allowed other variables to be modified, such as the cluster name, you could give them more options here. Once you click Deploy, it will go through a few pre-checks, and then you can click on the View Applications to see the process of the deployment. From that screen, if you select Audit, you can see the individual steps that it's running. When it gets to step 4 and shows the operation ID, you'll be able to see this job in NDB by going to the Operations section. We're going to do that now, even though we don't need to, but you can see the steps that NDB takes to provision the database. With a little video magic, we'll see that the blueprint has finished. In self-service, it has changed from provisioning to running in the upper left, which means it is completed successfully. If there were any errors, it would say Error, and then you could see where the error was in the Audit section. We can confirm that the Flow Network Security Policy is being applied by opening the Security Policies under Network and Security and choosing the policy we set up under Applications. If we click on the middle screen, we can see that the database server has been successfully added to the security policy. If the user needs to delete this database VM when they are done with it, they can head back into the self-service section, select Applications, click Manage on their application, and select Delete. This will delete the database from NDB, and if no other databases have been added to the server, the database VM will be deleted from NDB and the Nutanix cluster. In the Delete section, the setting for the time machine is set to false as shown here, so it will not delete the time machine from NDB, so the database could be recovered.
So that wraps up how easy it is to set up a repeatable, easy, and secure process for users to provision databases. With the combination of NDB, self-service blueprints, intelligent operation playbooks, and Flow network security, anyone should be able to deploy a secure database server with best practices using your company's choice of operating system and database engine.
Check the description to see the previous videos using Flow network security and intelligent operations playbooks. To learn more about NDB, check out the NDB playlist below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any new videos.